Hello and welcome back to another Duel Links episode. I just uploaded a video about the skill rebalancing and limited list. Now here are a couple thoughts that I've seen definitely some controversy about different YouTubers and information in general about a couple trap cards that they think that should be added to the limited list. These are just my thoughts on them. I wanted to go through Paleozoic Canadia, DNA Surgery, and Treacherous Trap Hole. I'm going to start with Treacherous Trap Hole because it has been added to the semi-limited list already, but my thoughts behind this card are that it should be completely banned from this game. Here's the reason why. This card was plucked directly from the TCG and added into Duel Links. It still has the same exact effect to where it targets two monsters on the field and destroys those targets. Here's why I think it should be banned. Because in the TCG you have 5 monster zones and 5 spell and trap card zones. Not only that, you have a minimum of a 40 card standard deck, to where in Duel Links your maximum standard is 30 cards, where most top tier decks are only 20. So Treacherous Trap Hole, taking away 2 monsters in a 20 card deck, you're basically taking away most of us run approximately 10 monsters per 20 card deck and 20 monsters in a 40 card deck. So if you have only 10 monsters, you're taking away 2 of them. That's 20% of your monsters just gone from one card. Whereas in the TCG, you're only taking away 10%. You've doubled the effectiveness of Treacherous Trap Hole. Yes, you have the ability of it if there's no trap cards in your graveyard. So if as long as there's a trap card in the grave, this card doesn't work. Yes, I understand that, but I still think this card is way too overpowered for Duel Links. Not only that, coming back to the monster zones. If I have in Duel Links only 3 monster zones, there's 2 that can be targeted by this card effect. Therefore, 66% of my resources will be gone due to this trap hole. Now, if you look at the TCG, I have 5 monster zones. That's only 40% of my monsters can be targeted by this one card. So I do believe this card needs to be completely banned from this game. It is way too powerful for this game because the effectiveness from this being in Duel Links as opposed to the TCG has just increased by the effectiveness of the monster zones. It increases by 26% just because there's less monster zones. There's less cards in the deck, so your ability to get this card is even quicker. Because yes, you can only have 2 in your deck, but in a 20 card deck, I have a 10% chance of getting it. Whereas even in 3 cards in a 40 card deck, that's less than a 10% chance. So I do believe this card is still too overpowered, and they need to just remove it from the game. Yes, I understand that probably will not happen, just on the simple fact that this is a pay-to-play card, and Konami is a business. I get it, but that's just my thoughts on Treacherous Trap Hole. I am appreciative that they have limited it to 2, but I think it just needs to be completely gone. The next card I want to talk about is Paleozoic Canadia. So many people are up in arms about it, thinking it's way too overpowered. Let's talk about resources. The resources that are affected by this card. It basically has 2 effects. Once per chain, I can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, change it to face-down defense position. So that's a nice effect. Am I destroying any of their resources? No. What I am doing is I am buying time for myself to get my plays off. I am not affecting the resources of the opponent. Not like Treacherous Trap Hole, where I'm removing 2 resources from the field. I am not removing anything from the field. I am just switching it from face up to face down. I'm giving myself time to get my resources, to get my plays off. That's what trap cards do. Are they annoying? Yes. But that's just how trap cards are. I am not removing any resources from the opponent. The second effect allows me to special summon this from the graveyard to act as a monster. Once again, I am not removing any resources from the opponent. Does it give me an edge? Not really, because it only has 1200 attack and 0 defense. If you're running an Ancient Gear or something, the defense of being 0 is nothing. It's nothing. Piercing damage, it does nothing. So everyone is up in arms about Paleozoic Canadia and it needs to be on the ban list. I don't think it does. This is a good solid card that will buy yourself time. It's not destructive to your opponent. It just buys you more time. Is it annoying? Yes. But what about Wall of Disruption? If you have this card, then Wall of Disruption needs to be limited as well. So I'm sorry, but this card does not need to be on the limited list. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think Konami will, just on the simple fact that this is a UR card. And Konami is a business. This is a pay to somewhat win. Yes, you can still be free to play. I have obtained all 3 of these free to play. I have not spent a dime to get these Paleozoic Canadias. It just so happens that since I was going for the Masked Heroes, this card was in that same deck. I needed 3 copies of Anki. Guess what? I got 3 copies of Canadia along with Anki. It's a great deck to be summoning on. But do I think this card is overpowered? No. Is it the top most played card? Yes. Because it buys you time. It can stall. That's exactly what this card is designed to do. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, but it's not destroying your resources like Treacherous Trap Hole or something else. It's not. If I play this card, it's not a GG. It's not a good game. I won. No. It's not like Treacherous Trap Hole where if I play one, guess what? The majority of your resources are already gone. I win. No, it doesn't work that way. Canadia is just a stall type card. Does it need to be on the limited list? No, I do not believe so. Now, going on to the last of the cards, DNA Surgery. This is a card that you get from the card trader and is used in the Buster Blader deck. I believe this card needs to be limited from 3 to 2 or 1. I do not believe so. Here's the reason why. This card, having 3 copies of this card in your deck, does it give you an increased chance of getting your OTK? No. Does having 3 copies of this card make a fusion deck actually viable in top tier meta? Yes, it does. Fusion decks have almost all completely gone away just because they use so many of your resources, and having so little resources to begin with, as opposed to the TCG going from 40 cards down to 20. Fusion decks are just not very viable unless you're using something along the lines of Miracle Fusion or something that's, playing from resources in the graveyard as well. So I do not believe this card is too overpowered because you need so many resources to go into these fusion decks already that you have to have those good hands to get started with DNA Surgery in your deck, because if you run 3 copies of DNA Surgery, you could very well open your hand with 3 copies of DNA Surgery. So do most people run 3 copies? Yes and no. It all depends on, how they're playing their Buster Blader deck or, Warrior deck. Do I believe this is too overpowered? No. It's still easy to be destroyed. There's so many cards that are targeting back row, that are targeting traps, that can easily be destroyed. Even with Ancient Gears, they're not, when they attack, they can destroy a card, the Ancient Gear Dragon. But, if he's in defensive mode, he can't attack with Buster Blader. But Buster Blader himself has one fatal flaw, the Dragon Destroyer. He has to attack an opponent, a monster. He cannot attack directly. So, yes, there is also the Dark Paladin, but, typically you're summoning the first one. So you have your time if you need to stall for a minute. So, do I think this card is too overpowered? No, I do not believe so. I think this card is fine the way it is. You typically don't see that many Buster Blader decks anyways because they're slightly inconsistent to the point of it's not a viable option, like the Kokai Miru, that as soon as they came out, the entire meta shifted from having, a good balance across multiple different decks to, oh my gosh, over 50% of the people playing in the top meta are using Kokai Miru. So those are definitely more a hot topic issue. And do I see DNA surgeries? Yes. Do I think they're overpowered? No. There's so many people playing them that becomes an issue. No. I think this card is fine the way it is. There's enough back row destruction. There's enough that can be, actually to, save yourself from these cards. And I just think that it's fine the way it is. But, of course, these are just my opinions. So, with that, I will leave you on these 3 cards. Hit a like if you like this video. Leave a comment of your thoughts on these 3 cards. If you have another card that you're thinking of might need actually hit on the limited list, let me know in the comments. I'll give you my thoughts on it. If there's enough comments on a specific card, I'll post another video about them, because I do find this interesting to see, what can be done in the meta. Now, will Konami listen? That's up to them, because this game they are still a business, but they do like to keep the customers happy. They like to keep us in mind. So, with that, hit that subscribe button for more Duel Links content. Until then, happy dueling.